Brad, how did it hit you here just in the last couple of days when the reports came out about the NCAA traveling to Miami, looking into NIL? Depending on the article, and I didn't sit and like read any articles word for word, but I skimmed a bunch of them, and the wording quite a bit different. Some made it sound like a crackdown. I'm looking at SI right now. Others just, it's an inquiry. The NCAA wanting to know, what's this process all about? Not necessarily just at Miami, but anywhere. What's going on? So how did that hit you in regards to the NCAA making a move here?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny, to be honest with you, Mark, because for most people that have kept a good insight on the NIL and what Miami has brought to the table, it seems like John Ruiz, who's been a heavy part of all of it, he's kind of been the front runner of this whole NIL thing. So I think when you look at it, I believe the NCAA was going there to kind of check up on everything and kind of get some information on how John Ruiz run things, because I think John has been, very, very forward, obviously on social media, not only with rival fans, but just in general, going on, various platforms and kind of spreading the word on how he does things. He's not hiding anything. And I think when you look at the past of what the Miami Hurricanes, when we gotten into these type of allegations, it never really felt in the favor of Miami. And when you talk about, the organization that is trying to build now, the athletic director in Radakovich, the head coach in Mario Cristobal, and now the head guy in charge of football in Alonzo Highsmith, I think, they knew a lot of this going forward in advance. When you look at last season, getting a small taste of it, I think they did their homework, and I think they were very comfortable and kind of knew that John Ruiz was kind of doing the right thing. So I think they weren't too worried about something like that. And I think you're going to see that nothing can be done about the University of Miami. And in all honesty, it's laughable, because you see what Nick Saban and, the Jimbo Fishers of the world, what they're doing, in the public eye. And it's very obvious that those type of programs have been doing this for years. And instead of going to those programs, instead they go to a University of Miami. And I think at the end of the day, Mark, it's because the logo, in fact, holds weight.
Yeah, so let's stay on that line of thinking, because everybody here knows the history. You guys are big Miami fans, of course, even if you weren't around for it. The Canes emerged in the early 80s. Howard Schnellenberger, legendary work that he did in just saving this program with the help of a lot of people, but still. So they crashed the party on Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Texas, the schools that ruled college football for decades and decades. And a lot of people didn't like that. And the way Miami played football, the way Miami carried itself, a lot of things rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And I'm not here to say one way or the other in regards to the way the NCAA handled that, and if they wielded, I know a lot of people would have their definite opinions on it, but how the NCAA approached it back then, maybe not wanting Miami to continue to succeed. Okay, here we are, 20 years plus away from a championship, and even at that point, I don't know that Miami was necessarily, I should say from watching the games, covering the games and all of that, that at that point, Miami still had a bit of a target on its back, but not nearly what it had 10 years, 15 years earlier. Things had kind of settled in. The program was run fairly similar, and it's not like you could turn on a Miami game in 2001 and tell a big difference. I'm not talking about talent. I'm talking about the swag on the field and the way the game was approached. So do you feel that that's still out there? Do you think, and especially by people with influence and authority, because that's where it really matters in terms of targeting Miami?
It's a little bit different now. You look at, not just last year, but this upcoming year, with the quarterback that just recently committed to Tennessee a few months ago, what he was, the amount of money that NIL was projectedly, to go to that young man. It kind of puts a lot on the table for, you're not really just recruiting what they do on the football field now. Now you got to kind of have to worry about, what they're really asking for, right? And when you look at, certain position groups that you have on the team, that's where you got to kind of, buckle down and figure out, is this young man, worth paying for? Because unfortunately that's what you're doing now. You're paying for a lot of these, young men, especially 5-star and these predominant, main positions at the quarterback, wide receiver position. You saw some guys in the transfer portal as well getting paid a lot of money. There's no telling, why they went to that school. It could have been potentially for money. So it does kind of put a damper on things when it comes to recruiting and in all aspects of college football. But, it will be interesting to see what happens in the future. But I think Miami is in a very good position going forward.
Falcon Rex, appreciate your contribution. Says Miami has more lawyers on NIL than Bama has bagmen.